I did want to spend a moment here to just kind of go over the expectation from the Chiefs offense. Because I think a lot of people, when they look at this Chiefs offense in the last 2 years and how this offense has not operated as well as it should have, in 2023, you had the drops. That was a big problem. Last year, the offensive line was a major problem, especially at the tackle positions, to the point where they had to move their all-pro guard from left guard to left tackle. That is never an ideal move. Mike Caliendo, I thought he did okay in the regular season, but once it came to playoff time, you saw Mike Caliendo struggle a lot. You saw Joe Thuney start to have a little bit of a difficult time, especially with top-tier pass rushers, which is normal when you're in the playoffs. That is the type of competition you expect to face in the postseason. And obviously, we saw in the Super Bowl, it just completely did not go in Kansas City's favor. So, and obviously last year, the receiver drops, that was not an issue last year like the year before, but there were a lot of injuries at the wide receiver position. Rashee Rice missed a lot of time, only played 3 games, and then played 4 snaps in that 4th game where he got injured. Hollywood Brown missed the majority of last season. They had to go and get DeAndre Hopkins mid-season. Xavier Worthy was kind of that lone soldier. Juju Smith-Schuster missed some time due to injury. So that's why they brought in guys like Tyquan Thornton, who was on the Chiefs practice squad last year after he was let go by New England, and a guy that they felt good about to the point where they felt like he's someone who could stick around and maybe be a part of the team, which he is now. They drafted Jalen Royals. They brought back Hollywood Brown. Rashee Rice right now suspended, serving that 6-game suspension. What do we want to see from this Chiefs offense, and what should happen? What should we expect? Obviously, we know Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, your center and your right guard. I mean, we have no questions about those 2 players. The left tackle position with Josh Simmons, obviously with any rookie, even the rookie that's getting a lot of hype, you still are cautiously optimistic about, because you're excited for them, but you just want to make sure they pass all the practice check marks and everything. And once it comes to playing the games for real, you want to make sure that they are doing all the right things, all the right things they did in practice and in training camp and in preseason games, which Josh Simmons has done. You want to see that all translate now to Friday night and then the following week when they play the Eagles and so on and so forth. And I think Josh Simmons will do that. The 2 big questions on this offensive line, let's start with right tackle, because I don't know if this is too big of a question here with Juwan Taylor. I think at this point, you know what you're getting with Juwan Taylor. This is an inconsistent guard. He'll have some good pass blocking moments, but also some really bad pass blocking moments. And obviously, the penalties are just an issue with him. It's been an issue for a couple of years now. I will say this about Juwan Taylor, and listen, he and his agent, they're no dummies. They know that in his contract, the Chiefs can easily get out of his contract next offseason and release him. So this essentially can, and because of Kansas City's cap situation next year, unless Juwan Taylor plays like Willie Roaf, which I don't expect, I think Juwan Taylor is playing his final season with the Chiefs. So he and his agent know that this is essentially a contract year. If he wants to land not just a starting job anywhere in the NFL, but also get big money elsewhere from any of the other 31 NFL teams, he's got to have a good season. So this essentially is a contract year for him, and hopefully it'll motivate him to play better, commit less penalties, be a better blocker for Patrick Mahomes. Then you have the left guard spot. And I think that's the one position on the offense, really on the whole team, that I think everyone is maybe eager but also nervous to see, and that is Kingsley Suamataia making that switch from left tackle to left guard. Obviously, he was the 2nd-round pick last year for the Chiefs. They traded up 1 spot to get him, and he did not live up to expectations at all at the left tackle spot. Is the left guard spot going to be better suited for him? Is the speed of the game going to be better for him at left guard compared to left tackle? We compared him to some of the past left guards the Chiefs have had in years past, right guards and left guards in the offseason. And his size, his height and weight matches a lot of the other guards we've seen in the last 10, 15, 20 years in Chiefs history. So the hope is that with his size and making this switch here, kind of a change of scenery for him, that he'll be able to reinvent himself and prove that the Chiefs did the right thing by not giving up on him. Because I think it'd be so easy to just give up on him and say, man, this guy couldn't even stay on the field for a full 3 weeks at left tackle. But they're giving him another opportunity at a different position here. So hopefully left guard will be better for him. I'm optimistic about Josh Simmons, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. Jawan Taylor, you kind of know what you have with Taylor at this point. My confidence level with Kingsley Suamataia has been kind of up and down. He's had good moments in practice. Preseason was kind of up and down for him. I will say the game against the Bears, the last game, probably ended the preseason on a better note, let's say. I think he still has room to grow and improve. But I do think that preseason game against Chicago, where you saw Mahomes on the starting offense play 3 drives there, I thought Kingsley looked good in that game. Can you carry that over to the regular season starting this Friday? Because if Patrick Mahomes has the protection he needs, guess what? This Chiefs offense, and I don't know if it's going to be anything like 2018. That's really hard to replicate, but I think this Chiefs offense can see some flashes from 2022 where Patrick Mahomes won MVP. Regular season and Super Bowl MVP. That was also the same year Patrick Mahomes broke the league record for most yards in total by a quarterback, passing and rushing. Over 5,500 yards that year for Patrick Mahomes. So when you look at what the Chiefs have on offense, and I know Rashee Rice, he's currently sidelined with a suspension, but when you look across the board, this offensive unit in terms of skill set, very similar to what the Chiefs had in 2018, where they had the 3rd highest scoring output, and then a year later they went to the Super Bowl. The big difference in 2018 and 2019 is they didn't have Mecole Hardman, and I know Mecole Hardman as a 2nd-round pick didn't really live up to expectations. Sure, he had flashes and moments like Super Bowl 58 in overtime, but Mecole Hardman, I thought, was a solid rookie receiver in 2019 and 2020. And that was when the Chiefs had that Legion of Zoom with Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Hardman, who I just mentioned, Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson had his moments as well. Because when you look at the Chiefs right now, you have Xavier Worthy. Everyone knows about his speed. Hollywood Brown, I know he's got an injury history, but the Chiefs felt like with his skill set, it was worth it to bring him back. And they feel like if he stays healthy, it's going to go a long ways for him and this offense. You look at Juju Smith-Schuster. I know he's not the receiver he once was, but with his speed, he can still do some damage. And I know a lot of people like to say Juju's washed up. Well, I don't agree with that. You know who else would not agree with that? Would be the Buffalo Bills defense. When you look at how they had a little bit of a difficult time against Juju when he had a couple of key catches in that game. We'll see Jalen Royals, who had a great training camp, what he's going to do when he comes back from his knee injury. Tyquan Thornton, everyone knows about his speed. He had the fastest 40 time of any offensive player in the 2022 NFL draft. And then you got Nico Remigio, Jason Brownlee, guys for depth. Travis Kelce, I think if everyone can stay healthy, which is going to be the big thing here, and that's a big if because we know about Hollywood's injury history. But if Hollywood and Worthy stay healthy, and when Rice comes back for week 7, boy, if you have that receiving trio of Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Rashee Rice, which is what we were expecting all of last year. I mean, that was a big anticipation up until Hollywood got hurt in that first preseason snap. Those 3 guys only played 1 snap together, and that was the first preseason snap where Hollywood got hurt. Because I'm excited to see those 3 guys, Worthy, Brown, and Rice, alongside with Travis Kelce and whoever might be coming out of the backfield, which could be Isaiah Pacheco, who's got great speed. Another guy from the 2022 draft class who had a great 40 time, along with Tyquan Thornton. Kareem Hunt, maybe not the running back he once was, but boy, for a guy who didn't have a training camp, OTAs, none of that, was just training at his local high school, if I remember correctly, up until the Chiefs called him. I thought he did pretty well, all things considered, especially when the Chiefs were in a desperate position where they lost a bunch of players to injury in the early goings of the season. You drafted Brashard Smith, one of the fastest players from this year's scouting combine. I mean, if that pass protection is there, Patrick Mahomes will have the deep pass back with Worthy, with Hollywood, with Thornton, who we saw in the preseason make that big 58-yard catch and run. Coming out of the backfield, you've got some options there, especially in the speed with Smith and Pacheco. Boy, and I think Kelsey, all of this kind of helps him out and can allow him to get more open this year. He got open a lot last year. I remember ESPN Analytics pointing out that he was one of the better pass catchers last year in getting open. The problem was Mahomes was dealing with defenders in his face because his pass blockers, specifically at the tackle positions, weren't doing him any favors. But if that offensive line comes through this year, and I think they will, this will be a better year for Patrick Mahomes. I bet on Patrick Mahomes to win MVP. I bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm confident that this Chiefs offense is going to be back, not just with the deep pass game, but I think with the short, medium routes from the receivers. I mean, it just takes one moment for those guys to create separation with their speed. And next thing you know, they're wide open. And Mahomes, he's not going to miss on those opportunities often. Not often. I remember ahead of Super Bowl 57, someone in the media was asking Travis Kelce, how do you get open so much? And he responded, Andy Reid, baby. I mean, if you can get Travis Kelce open, you know for sure Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, those guys are going to get open as well. 100%. And I'm excited to see Rashee Rice. And I've said this before about Rice. The way he looked a year ago this time, remember in that first game against Baltimore to open up last season's NFL season, the way he looked in that game, that did not look like a receiver who was coming off a rookie season. He looked like he had been around the league for quite some time. I mean, he looked like a veteran that's played a few years. I'm excited to see Rashee Rice, what he's going to look like coming back. He looked 100% in training camp and in the preseason. I've said before, I felt like he had the best training camp out of any player for the Chiefs these 6 weeks. And again, I know he's 100% going full speed and all of that. I guess it can't hurt considering he's coming off an injury. He gets to get a few more weeks to just relax that knee, train on his own for a little bit. And then once he comes back, that week 7 game, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. So good luck to the Raiders defense. I would not want to play defense for that team on that day because you know Rice is going to go off and he's going to want a big game. He's not going to want to gradually get back into the fold. He wants to go off right from the get-go. I'm excited for this Chiefs offense. I really am. And I know I said all of these things last offseason. Well, unfortunately, the injury bug had other plans. If that doesn't happen this year, you pray to the football gods that doesn't happen. This is a Chiefs offense that I think can do what this Chiefs offense did in 2022, maybe 2018. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that it could be something similar to 2018. Again, it's hard to replicate that kind of success offensively. And I think part of the reason why the Chiefs had that kind of success on offense is because they had to, especially with how bad the defense was that year. When you look at the Chiefs last year on offense, they were 19th in total offense, 15th in passing, 12th in points per game. When you look at points scored in 2023, they scored 31 points on 2 different occasions against the Raiders and against the Chargers. And then they scored 41 points against Chicago. That was Taylor Swift's debut, for those who remember. But last year, in 2024, the Chiefs never scored more than 30 points in a single game. They scored 30 against Tampa. That was an overtime where Kareem Hunt scored the game-winning touchdown. And they also scored 30 against Carolina. That one, of course, came down to the very final second. The Chiefs with the walk-off field goal there from Spencer Schrader. So when you consider the fact that this Chiefs team, how many times did they score more than 30 points last year? 0. They scored more than 30 3 times 2 years ago. I don't think it's going to take them very long to get at least 31 on the board, at least twice in the first 6 games. I will Put that out right now. And if I'm wrong, I'll give away a Patrick Mahomes jersey. Clip this, screen record this, do what you got to do. But I'm telling you now, the Chiefs will have at least 2 games where they score 31 or more points before Rashee Rice comes back. That's how confident I am in this Chiefs offense. The Chiefs defense last year ranked 10th in total defense. They didn't allow a running back to rush for 100 yards. They haven't allowed a running back to go for 100 plus in 26 consecutive games. The last time they did that was that Christmas Day game against the Raiders. Zamir White was the last running back to rush for 100 yards. Lamar Jackson ran for 100, but he's not a running back, obviously. So I know there's a little running back joke somewhere in there for Lamar Jackson, but Chiefs were 10th in total defense. I think they took a little bit of a step back last year. Nothing too noticeable, but just a little bit of a dip defensively. I would expect the defense to move forward a little bit. I think the sack total will certainly improve. They went from 2nd to 18th in sacks last year, being 2nd in 2023. So I would expect that number to improve in 2025 for the Chiefs defense. I think the additions of Omar Norman-Lott, Ashton Gelati, bringing back Charles Omenihu, who's going to finally play a week 1 game for the Chiefs, that's huge. So I think that defense can stay in the top 10. And I think this Chiefs offense, they're going to improve this year. I mean, as long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy and he has a reliable offensive line, this Chiefs offense will absolutely improve. And they're going to score more than 30 points, more than they have the last 2 seasons combined, which that number would be 3. And all 3 of them were in 2023. So expect a lot of improvement from the Chiefs offense. And I know that's the big question mark, the left guard and the right tackle. I'm more confident in Kingsley Suamataia than I am with Juwan Taylor. But I think in general, with this Chiefs offense, I think the offensive line is going to come through for the team. They'll come through for Patrick Mahomes. They'll step up. Then it's up to Patrick Mahomes to do the rest. And I think if you're a Chiefs fan, you're going to have a lot of fun watching this offense in 2025.